Hey guys, today is the turn of Monoblue. We're gonna talk about his color and his decks. You can do a lot of different things with blue. You can run some aggro lists, for example with Kanna, Pierpoint and Imperia, something like untouchable is used to do. You can do some late game blue control with, for example, Vanessa, focusing on items, for example the who is called um, this item that summons the Horn of the Alpha. Or basically, you can do some mid-range decks based on Swarm, and that's what I'm gonna show this time. Basically, I made this list after the removal of the objective vision. Blue was lacking damage after the removal of that card, so I was thinking about how to get damage to the tower, so the conclusion was basically Swarm and play this item, the Wormhorn. So that way you can deal a lot of damage in the mid game. Because you can clear the lanes with the AoE from blue and then play this item with your creeps. For example, from Ben or Prelex. And then you push a ton of damage that way. So let's see the list. I have tons of Monoblue lists. You can do tons of different things with this, like aggro. If you wanna have more late game, you can splash a Dead Prophet, or if you wanna be a little bit more aggro too, you can run the Draw Ranger, whatever. You can do a lot of different things, but this is what I usually run on ladder. It's a pretty strong deck, I think, because it's Kanda doesn't have any bad matchups, so you can just queue this deck and don't worry too much about what are you gonna face, and you're always gonna have a fair chance of winning the game because it's a pretty balanced deck. So what do I run is a Crystal Maiden. Is my favorite blue hero because the aura basically allows you to play ahead of the curve. Well, not really ahead, but just play more cards. You have extra 2 mana per turn, so that's great. And of course, Crystal Maiden allows this combo with Ogre Magic because you can multicast cards on 2 mana cards on round 1. For example, the Ignite, the Path of the Wise, the Barracks. So basically, that's the identity of this deck outside of the Swarm is basically gain value over time with the paths and the ignites, for example. So that's the idea with the deck basically on round 1. I have Venom because it's an amazing hero. It's great to destroy towers. If left unattended, it's gonna take the tower in no time. So the Plague Wars are amazing to hit towers. I run Prelex for the same reason. It's great to swarm. She generates these 2-3 creeps that is hard to deal. And the Barracks is an amazing card because you can generate blockers forever and basically build a wealth of creeps. And that's basically brutal against black, red, and green. Not that much against black, because black have tons of way to deal to creeps with Shadow Fiend or whatever. Checker, of course, is have Echo Slam is one of the best clear in the games, so it's an auto include I think for blue. The feature is great too. You can bounce the creeps and gain more cards to trigger the Path of the Wise, for example. So let's see the cards. I run 3 of these grills are great. You can use them. You can use this script to block and prevent some damage, and of course a cycle. You can cycle 1 card, and that way you dip into your deck and get the relevant spells earlier. 2 Lightning Strikes is a good card to get a kill here and there. If you manage to get a kill on turn 1 with this, is super important because sometimes you can even buy 2 items on round 1. I don't think 2 is too much, maybe. But you can buy, for example, a round 1 hooked net against kanna, and that's great because hooked net generates tons of gold for you. Frostbite is the signature card of Crystal Maiden, of course. It's a great card. You can prevent tons of damage with it, and it's vital against kanna decks because you can stop the damage from the Diabolic Conclusion. So you can prevent, I don't know, 20 damage in one turn with this card, so pretty good. Ignite, of course, generate value over time. You can upkeep kill a lot of things, so it's one of the best cards on the game, on this list, I mean. It's great against kanna. With the Path of the Wise, you can clear the doggos on upkeep, so that way you can prevent a lot of damage. Tower Barrage is basically the same reason. You run this card to face basically blue mirrors, because it's great against Venom wards, and great against kanna. And in general, it's a good card because it's a cheap spell. When paired with Path of the Wise, you can deal tons of damage that way. Barracks, I already talked about that. It's just great on generating blockers. You can basically perma block the enemy hero, so it's an insane card. And of course, you can multicast the card on round 1, so that's even better. We have Foresight. This deck runs out of cards quite easily because you have more mana than usual with the Maiden. So, and you have tons of cheap spells on 2 mana, right? So you need some card draw, super important. So 3 Foresights. I use it to run 2, 1, and 1 for me, but I think it's too much. I'm running 1 now. I think it's enough. You can use it to duplicate the Warhorn or the Solar Spear. You normally don't use this card for initiative because it's too expensive, but sometimes you can do that. 3 mana charge is great because games are getting to the late game quite often. So this card shines on the late game because you can remove, I don't know, 10 HP heroes. And no other card can do that. For example, Echo Slam can do that, but sometimes the heroes have even more than 10 HP, and sometimes the lane is not full, so Echo Slam is not dealing 10 damage. So this is a really good single target removal. This card is terrible. If I could remove this card from the deck, I would, but of course it's attached to Venom, so I'm forced to run because I think even if the card is terrible, Venom is still worth to run. Thunderstorm is basically have to be the best blue card because 3 piercing damage is super efficient for 4 mana. You run 3, of course. And 3 damage is super important because, for example, you can clear the kanna creeps. Calder Reserves is for relics mainly. You can basically sometimes save a lane just generating a lot of blockers there, and when paired with Prelex, of course, it's tons of value because it summons the 2-3 creeps instead of the 1/1s. Annihilation is the must in blue because sometimes you can remove some heroes because have too much HP, so Annihilate is the way to remove them. This basically fits the same rule as Echo Slam, but you can never have enough clears in them, so I like to run 2. I think 2 is enough. And Echo Slam, of course, is for Hitchhiker. It's a great clear. Great against farm decks like blue, kanna decks, even green decks if the green deck overcommits 1 lane with too many creeps. In the item list, it's pretty standard. Basically, every deck runs the same, and with the exception of black and red, maybe that here runs the mortar daggers. But basically, it's 1 Magic Mold to remove the improvements, 2 Midas to get gold to buy these items, the expensive ones, 2 stones, 2 cloaks. The game right now is kinda heavy on the HP items. You basically buy this on round 1 or 2 and you get a hero to have like 10 HP easily or more even. And you can even add another HP item and basically make your hero unkillable. Hooked Net is basically against for Canadex. You can run this card and get tons of gold, and basically it makes your life easier against Kanna if you manage to get this item on the Kanna lane. Warhorn is basically the way to get damage in the mid game, and of course the HP is great because you give more survivability to your heroes. And Swordless Can Spear is basically a late game finisher. You can put this item on your heroes, and then do some passes and get ton of damage the other way. So let's see. Yesterday I played 3 games against Untouchable, Unto. Every game was super close. I ended up losing the first one, and Unto get first rank for a sec. Then I immediately queue again and did face him, and I won, and I get back the rank 1, so that was super cool. And I'm gonna see this match. I'm gonna talk a bit about Unto deck too. Unto is basically sitting on the second rank forever. He's a great player, and he's probably one of the best deck builder in the game. He's super creative. He used it to run different decks, like super cool stuff like green black with Anchu, Death Effects, and Infernal Alley, or whatever, black with Kanna and this Plague Hex improvement, generating ton of decay. But now he's in the dark side of the moon. He's playing just spamming Canada X, but that's fine. This is a super strong player, and basically his deck changed the entire meta. Goes. Everyone knows if you don't run Canna answers, you're basically gonna feed Canada decks, because this deck can push a lot of damage super early in all 3 lanes, so you need to be prepared to deal with that kind of stuff, or you're just gonna lose all games. So basically, this is the meta right now. You run Kanna, or you run a deck that is able to deal with Kanna. Let's pause here for a second. As you can see, have Kanna here. Kanna is generating tons of damage every turn just passively with the doggos. So you need to take care of this lane, because Kanna is dealing 9 damage per turn, right? 8, 9 with Kanna, right? In the mid lane, here's a Venomancer. Venomancer is super scary. You can leave Veno unattended, because otherwise it's gonna take your tower in no time, because the Plague Words deal tons of damage. And in the other line, he can put, I don't know, Imperia here, for example, and Imperia is gonna reveal the cards with the Pierre, and it's gonna hit your tower for, I don't know, 20 HP, 20 damage. So basically, he's threatening all 3 lanes since turn 2, round 2, so it's a super scary deck that can deal tons of damage early, so you need to deal with that. I did start the game with initiative, I think. I started with, luckily I did found Kanna here with Ogre Magi. I tried to do that against Kanna decks, because then you can do something like this. You can multicast the Path of the Wise and basically have 2 paths here and kill the dogs very easily each turn. And even I got even luckier, because I did draw 1 lightning strike, and I can kill the Veno here and prevent the Plague Ward here and get gold. So he only plays was just playing this reveal here to cycle a card. I proceed to play my second path and kill the Veno with the lightning strike. So this was a very good start for me. I got pretty lucky. So let's see. That was the wrong one, nothing much. So As you can see, I killed the Venom, so I have almost 20 gold. So I can afford this hooked net on round 1, and that's super good because basically Kanna is now super sad. Because there is already double path and the hooked net now, so these dogs are just feeding now. He start this one of the things that this deck, the Unto deck needs to do is just keep initiative from round 2. That way he can start with the Pierre active and basically turn your cards 1 mana higher. So he basically diabolic conclusion here because he know I am gonna kill the dogs, so he preferred to preserve the damage, but I don't care because it's only 6 because for the cost the hooked net. Here, as you can see, I'm gonna pause for a second because what is this shit? I did have a frostbite here, and Punto did have 1 mana open, and I could play the frostbite here to prevent the 11 damage. But if I do that and I disarm this Imperia, he can respond with the 1 mana Devour creep from Imperia and just reset the damage, you know, and get a permanent creep here. So what I normally do against Sunto is just I save the Frostbite and wait until he plays the creep here. And then I Frostbite and prevent the damage. But I never do this before he plays the creep. And that way he knows I'm doing that, so he don't play the creep. And sure, he hit the tower for 11, but he's losing the damage, because if he played the creeps, he's gonna have a 11 damage creep every turn hitting my tower. So this time he didn't have the creep, so because but you never know. So I think that's the correct play. You save the frostbite until he plays the creep. You don't play it before. So keep going. I'm gonna speed up a little bit the chop phase and the deployment phase because it takes too long usually. I normally play super fast because I just buy and deploy, but sometimes takes a lot of time. So he plays, I have initiative. I can basically thunderstorm here and kill all these 3 creeps and the tusker, but I'm not afraid of my heroes dying, so I'm just start with the cloak here on the Venomancer to prevent his death from the thunderstorm. He didn't have it, but you can't know. So let's see what he does. He just equipped the item on Veno, because keeping Veno alive is super important in all matchups, so you want to put HP items on him. So no, I think I just thunderstorm here because I killed all creeps and the tusker. So the game is looking great for me. I'm getting tons of gold with this item, with the hooked net and the Path of the Wise here, and Kanna is super sad. At this point, I don't even want Kanna to die, because if she dies, he can relocate Kanna in another lane. But if he stay here, I can just kill the creeps every turn. So I don't want to kill Kanna, because I was considering maybe frostbite the Kanna and kill her. But of course, I don't think that was a good play. Instead, I just saved my Venom with the frostbite. So I don't have anything much to do except Baby Fisher here, and I'm gonna do that, I think, because I have triple path here, so having cards like these 2 creeps is great because they're cheap and they're 3 damage each, so I can clear these creeps forever basically, and Kanna is super sad. as you can see, this prelex here is generating a creep every round here, and is perma blocking this hero here. So I'm not taking any damage in this tower, and this tower neither, because my paths are clearing the creeps every round. And this lane, mid lane, is kinda in the same spot for me and Junto. Just a Beno here, just a Beno from him and from me. So basically the towers have the same HP. I'm gonna play my ogre here again because the hooked net is just great to cripple these creeps. At this point, yeah, basically these doggos are just feeding. They need to be reported. Let's speed up a little bit this. Munta did have initiative this round. Let's see what he does. He's gonna start with Pierre ability, of course. That way he can get information and about my hand and discard some significant cards. He, for example, discard the Frostbite, because Frostbite is a super important card in this matchup. For example, here I could just prevent 13 damage. I just played a Foresight here to clear the creeps. Probably that was a mistake. I should have just Thunderstorm here first. That way I can save my Venom wards. So I fuck it up here, there. So I'm out to mana, so nothing much I can do. I can do anything more. So I think Kanna is gonna lightning strike here. Normally, as blue, you want to always be bouncing one of your heroes because you need a hero in your fountain. But this Unta deck doesn't run much clears, doesn't have echo slams, and runs only one annihilation. So I don't care, for example, if I don't have any deploys next turn, because I have anyways one hero in every lane and I have initiative, so I'm fine just not having a deploy here. But normally you want to do that. You just want to bounce one of your heroes every round, so that way you always have a deploy next round. At this point I can buy 2 Warhorns, but I decided just to rush the Sorla. I don't know if that was correct. Maybe that the other play was better, because I can get my heroes beefier and deal instant damage this round here in mid lane and left lane maybe. So I think this task for Punto is kinda questionable. I'm not sure about that, because he likes the task because he can do a super combo like for example, he have a kanna lane with the tusk and 3 creeps. He plays the Warhorn, then plays the Diabolic Conclusion on Tusker and double the damage with the ability, and then plays a creep on top of the Tusker. So that way he has like I don't know, 40 damage creep with trample. So he's taking the tower N1 and the ancient N1 too. So that's basically the wombo combo with Tusker and Kanna, but it's not that consistent. So I don't know if that is correct actually. I start this round with mana short, killing the Imperia to prevent the next round thing with the Pier. At this point, he doesn't have much good plays, because he can play anything with Tusker, and anything he kinda does here is gonna just be answered by the path of the way, so he doesn't have any good plays. Here I did a mistake. I should have just equipped the Solar Spear on Venom, and then do whatever here, because if I do that and Venom and Unto respond, I can just pass and gain a charge on the Solar Can Spears. But I didn't play here, and I play a card first. For example, this Ignite, just whatever card to just kill the doggos. And of course, Unto is super sad with Kana here because he's gonna is getting countered every turn. So he annihilate just to relocate Kana. Of course, he's killing my hero and my two grips, but I think that place was basically just to kill Kana and just can play Kana mid lane or left lane and avoid this triple path of the waste lane. So as you can see, now I played this, but now I can basically I don't gain any charge on the item, so that was a misplay. I did play the another Ignite here on Venom. So Unto have initiative this round, I mean next round. So I can buy another Solar Spear, so I'm kinda rich in this game because I have a hooked net here killing 3 dogs every round, so mhm. As you can see, his hand is basically trash. I just play my Solar Scans here in the checker. Uh, Foresight, and I drew this one for me, and I'm gonna just play it here to gain initiative for next round and pass, and that way I can trigger the Sorlakan Spear on 2 heroes. That's worth. Basically, I'm just passing because I'm gonna push more damage. He basically tried to block my Venom here, but I did have the answer with the tower barrage, and I'm taking the tower this turn mid lane. So now I don't have initiative anymore, so I can play the second Solar Spear here, and I'm not afraid of Thunderstorm because not enough mana at that point. So basically I'm taking all 3 lanes for my own, and he's not pushing any damage on my tower, so at this point I don't think I can lose the game anymore. And I have another deploy with the Ogre. At this point I just buy an HP items to keep alive my Venom or my CM or my Shaker. And the game is basically over at this point because he didn't deploy any hero here and he didn't draw the cold reserve. He's basically trying to win these 2 lanes on this route because this goes first, this goes last. But I think that's impossible at this point. He didn't discard my annihilate, so I'm gonna just secure the game, just annihilate here. Because even if he called the reserves here, I can play these 2 creeps and clear all the creeps with the paths. So he's basically trying to get this tower here, but he don't run no hesitation, so that doesn't matter. So that's game. And this was kinda one-sided game, but that's not how usually this type of game goes. They're normally very close games. Maybe later I'm gonna show one of the game I did lose against Sunto to see what mistakes you can do against this type of deck. You need to be super. You, you can't make any mistakes because every damage point to your tower matters, and you need to preserve your HP on your towers if you wanna have a chance to win. Because this game, everything did go well for me, but sometimes it doesn't go that way. So you need to play better.